Hi there, welcome back to our little handmade home. If you are new here, my name is Tanya. I am the creator and founder of this channel, and today I've got a super quick, super fun project for you to do. I'm excited to show you how, so let's dive right into how to make these super simple no-sew fabric stars. So before we get into actually making our fabric stars, which I have here, I've got some examples. What we're going to be making today is a 4-inch star. I also have made a 5, a 3, and a 6. And all of those directions are going to be in the blog post, which I link below. Before we dive into making, I'm just going to touch on what we're going to be using. So, of course, you're going to have your iron. And this is my DIY ironing board, which I will leave a link to this project down below. You're going to need some scissors, your rotary cutter, and these are the 2 rulers that I have that I like to use depending on the size of the fabric that I'm cutting. You'll need your cutting mat, of course, and you'll need your fabric. What I have here is a fat quarter bundle. This is Christmas Night by Maywood Studio. I bought this in my local quilt shop, but I will leave a link down below to the fat quarter shop where you can find these fabrics. What we're going to do is choose 2 fabrics that go nicely together, and we're going to make our star out of 2 fabrics. Of course, you could use 1 fabric like I've done with this one. You can use 2 like I've done here and here. And believe it or not, this is 1 fabric. So I'm going to go ahead and prepare my 2 fat quarters. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to press them both out, and I'm going to use my Mary Ellen's Best Press starch on them. I find that when you starch the fabric, you get these really nice clean points like I have on this one. I did a sample one where I didn't starch it and I wasn't super happy with the results. So I'm going to starch them, and then I'll be back to show you how we're going to cut them. Okay, so I've pressed out my fabric and I've already trimmed my selvage off of this end, so we're just going to go ahead and start cutting out our fat quarters. So our stars are going to be made using 4-inch by 14-inch strips. So once they're cut out, they're going to look like this. This is just an old fabric that I had laying around that I thought would be really cute in some stars. So we're going to cut our fat quarters into 14 by 4 inches. So start by, and as you can see, I've got my white fabric layered on top of my red, so I'm cutting 2 colors at a time. So I'm going to start by giving myself a nice clean straight edge to work with. So once I have squared off my bottom and one of my long edges, I am going to cut 14 inches this way so that I can have strips going this way, but I'm also going to be able to get another strip out of here. So what you don't want to do is cut from here to here for your 14 inches, because you're not going to be able to get your vertical one, or your horizontal one. So I'm at 10 inches here, so I'm just going to go up to 24. That's my 14 inches. Cut that, and I'm going to set this piece aside for just a minute. I'm going to spin this back around, and then I'm going to cut my 4-inch strips. So just square it up on your mat and cut your 4 inches. If you happen to be working with a piece of fabric that is just a hair too small, like 1/8 of an inch or less, that's okay. I wouldn't fuss about with anything smaller than that. And when it comes to folding the fabric, you'll see why you can kind of cheat it just a little bit. Okay, so I've cut the large piece up. As you can see, this is the piece that I cut off of the top. So I'm going to go ahead and cut my 4 inches off of this one. And as you can see, the red is almost big enough for another strip, not quite, but these are good size strips, so these will definitely be going into my scrap bins. This one is 4 inches wide, so I just have to cut it down to 14. So that is all the cutting that we have to do. So of course I've got 5 sets of these strips. You actually only need 2 in order to make 1 star. So you're going to need 2 of the white and 2 of the red in this case. As I said, you can use the same fabric 4 times. You could have 1, 2, 3, or 4 fabrics if you wanted to. So we're just going to use these. These ones I'm going to be able to set aside and make more stars after. So the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to press these. And as I said at the beginning, I have starched these pieces. So I'm going to give it a quick press. And then with wrong sides together, so of course the right side showing out, you're just going to fold it in half and give it a press. And you're going to do that to each of them. Now, if you have a tailor's clapper, this would be a good time to use it. I don't actually have one. So if anybody who shops for me for Christmas is listening, I don't have a tailor's clapper. What you want to do is press each of them in half and let it cool completely before we move on to the next step, because letting it cool is of course going to give you a nice crisp fold, and that's really what you want when you're making these stars. So you can put them underneath a book or, you know, anything that's got a little bit of weight to it. I just throw them under 2 rulers. It seems to help. If it's much thicker than this, then it's not going to work out as good. So go ahead and finish pressing all 4 pieces, and then we'll move to the next step. Okay. So now I'm going back to the first piece that I pressed, and as you can see, I've got a nice crisp fold. So now we're going to open it up and we're going to fold each of the edges in towards the center, but not quite all the way. Leave yourself a little gap, because that's going to let you fold both sides in and then fold it in half again without adding a lot of bulk. So go ahead and press that one side down. Flip it round. For me, it's easier to press on this side, and then press it into the center. So you can see that they're not overlapping, they're not even quite touching, and that's what you want to see. And then iron them both in. And then without burning your fingers, press it this way. And this is especially where a tailor's clapper would come in handy, because it is a bit heavier than just a ruler. If you have a book or something, go ahead and set that on it. And then you're going to press all of them the same way. All right, once we have all of our pieces pressed and they've cooled down completely, this is where we're going to start the weaving process. If you're using 2 colors, you want to start by putting the colors opposite to each other. And I like to have my single fold edge facing out on all of them, so you can see that it opens up on this side. And then what we're going to do is, you can start with any of them, but going clockwise or counterclockwise, it doesn't matter. Just go around, fold them in half, and leave an extra tail of about 1.5 inches. It doesn't have to be perfect, but it's about 1.5 inches, so you can see there. And then do that for each of them. The easiest thing is to fold them where they are, so that you know that you've folded them in the right direction. Because you're going to want the longer tail going all the way around. So this last one, of course, I will fold it this way. And folding them on my mat allows me to be fairly accurate with my tail length, but it, as I say, it doesn't have to be perfect. So the next thing you're going to do is you're going to open this piece up. You're going to pick this one up and set it inside of that fold. Okay, so both pieces are inside the fold. This is your loop at this end and your tail at this end. And I should be seeing the short piece on top, the long piece on the bottom. Okay, and then for this one, of course, that one's going to go in there. And you're going to bring it up like this. Then you're going to take these two ends, you're going to put them inside of this one. And then you're going to take these last two ends and you're going to feed them through so that you've got a little bit of a basket weave, as you can see. And then you just start pulling them together. So slide that one in, slide this one over, tighten them up, and just get a nice tight weave. They don't have to be so tight that they won't move, but you want them fairly snug. So just keep pulling on them until you feel like you've got a good weave on there. Okay. Then flip it over and double check that it's tight on that side as well. And now, as you can see, the longer tails are on top. So you're going to, starting at the top, take each of the long tails and just fold it down, okay? So you're going to fold that one down. You're going to take the next one and fold it over. You'll take this one and fold it up over top of the white. And take this last one. Now, this one's a little different. You're going to take this one. It'll go over top of this piece, but you're going to feed it through this first one so that it's a weave, right? So we're going to pull it through like that. And then same thing, we're just going to tighten everything up and make sure it's nice and snug. Okay, so give it a good tug on both sides. So at this point, you're going to have the one color going top and bottom and one color going left and right if you're using two. Now this is where the fun part comes in. This is where we're going to start making our star points. So as you can see, all the way around, each has a point, and I've used two fabrics. I've got the colored polka dots and I have the stars. Now they're going to alternate in the center, but then they're going to alternate on the sides. So these two sides will be polka dots and these two sides will be stars. So likewise in ours, 2 points will be white, 2 points will be red, 2 white, 2 red. Now it doesn't matter which one you start with. The only thing you have to remember is that when you go to fold, you want to see the gaps this way and fold towards you. So for example, if you're looking at it on either side, really, if the gap is here, you don't want to be folding this one, okay? The gap isn't here, it's here, which means you're going to fold this one. So you're going to start by folding it on a diagonal towards you, okay? Then you're going to flip it over, and I like to work this way, and you're going to fold it on the diagonal again. So as you can see, you've made your point. This tail is longer than this piece. We're going to be tucking this piece inside of this gap, and so I want to cut my fabric so that it's not going to show through. So we're just going to cut it right there, okay? Then where you have your point, you're actually going to bring it over this way. Okay, you're going to fold it in half, and then you're going to take this tail from here and you're going to tuck it underneath this tail. Now you can slide that open a little bit, place that where it needs to be, and then just tighten it up again. And as you can see, that's created your first point. Okay, that's your very first one. think I'll get a little closer for the next one. There we go. I think that might work better to show you really what I'm saying. Pardon the nails, I'm in between manicures. So this piece curves over this way, which means it's already facing the right direction. So we're going to take this piece and we're going to fold it on the diagonal. Just finger press it, you don't have to iron it there. Flip it over, and again, I like to turn it this way so that I'm folding away from me. Now this piece is pretty close, but I'm still going to trim it a little bit because I don't want that red showing through at the bottom of the white. So I've trimmed that piece off. I'm going to fold it towards me, making my point. I'm going to loosen this piece off just a little bit, feed that tail in, and then pull it tight. Now just weaving the fabric is going to keep your points right in place, okay? And then we're going to move on to the next one. So once again, you can see that you're on the right section. I'm going to do this one a little bit faster. So we're going to fold it that way. We're going to bring it over. I'm going to fold it up this way. This is a longer tail, so I'm going to have a bit more to cut off. Just be careful not to cut the fabric of the actual woven center. Okay, I'm going to loosen it off, tuck that tail in, and pull it tight again. And you just keep going around until you finish them all. So I'm going to speed up the process in the video. I don't think that you need to watch me fold every single one of them. As far as your fabric choices go, quilting cotton is definitely the best for making these stars. So as you can see, I'm just continuing to work around. I'm going to feed all the tails in, and we're almost there. And as you fold more and more of these, you'll sort of get into a rhythm about it. And there we go. That is it. It is folded. Now what you can do at this point, if you want, is you can give it a good press. You could even put a couple of drops of fabric glue in there if you're worried about it coming loose at all. I'm not too worried about that. And so all you need to do at this point is stitch a piece of thread right here, create a loop so that you can hang it on your tree. I wouldn't put them in the points at all. I would definitely stitch in these corners here because the points are a little bit more delicate, but that's it. In those few folds, you have created your own Scandinavian style no-sew fabric star. Isn't it cute? Imagine a tree covered in an entire bundle of them. I hope you enjoyed this quick tutorial on these gorgeous fabric no-sew star ornaments. I can just picture my tree covered in these already and imagine them hanging on a garland or even just thrown in a basket. They would look absolutely adorable. Just remember, if you enjoyed this little project today, go ahead and subscribe to my channel, turn on your notifications so that you know when next week's Christmas project is ready, and I'll see you then.